So today we're starting lesson 7.2, solve and write addition equations. So it's going to be very similar to yesterday, but these are going to be just addition equations. However, we are going to be writing and solving them on our own. Our warm-up is page 525, and as I mentioned, number 2 should have a variable. So let's look at this. Here's 525. So I want to start with this one. Number 1, fill in the boxes above using the phrases below. Roman, her score on the first hole is unknown. Which box am I going to be filling in? Box 1, 2, or 3? Excellent. So we're going to fill in box 1. We don't know what that is. We don't know how many she scored. So what are we going to put, Adriana? Exactly. We put X because our keyword is unknown. Okay, let's see. For box number 2, Gore. Her score is now 5. Actually, it's not box number 2. We don't know yet. What are we filling in? Which box? We're filling in box 3. And what do we put there? A 5. As such, for the last box, Oleg, what do we put? A 3. Because we can see this is pointing to 3, this is pointing to 5, and this is pointing to some amount that we don't know. Now, for question 2, we need to write an equation. What is going to be after our equal sign? We know equations have an equal sign. What comes after the equal sign, Lucy? A 5, because that's her total score. Tobias, what goes on the other side of her equal sign? We've got a 3. And do we have anything else, Rocco? An X. And what operation is being performed here, Oswaldo? Addition. Because we have some score plus the 3 we know is going to be equal to our 5. Exactly. Now, how would we solve this equation? I want to know how we would solve this equation. Lucy. Yeah. So what we would do is we would subtract 3 from 5. And if we can all do that, what is the answer? Show me on your fingers. Yes! X equals 2. As we can see, this is a pretty easy concept that we are doing right now. So, now, here's what we see. Is negative 3 equal to negative 3? Yeah, that's a true statement, right? So give me a thumbs up if you think it's true. Give me a thumbs down if you think it's false. Good, because it is true. Negative 3 is equal to negative 3. Look at that. We subtracted 3 from both sides. What we do to one side, exactly, we do to the other. So 3 minus 3 cancels that out, and it's now 0. So we just have X left on that side. And what is 5 minus 3? We already know it. What is 5 minus 3, Jasmine? 2. And look at that. It's that same thing we got earlier. 2. So let's look at page 526, 527. I want you to do A, B, and C. And if you finish, do D. Let's look at these problems. So when we're solving this one, I want to see you need to show all your work. And we need to have, in the end, our variable equals. You can't just write the number. So Rafi, how do we do this by showing our work? So Rafi is right in the sense that he already did mental math to get the answer. But let's see. Romario, can you tell me how we would do this by showing work?
You would minus 2. No, you would do 5 minus 2.
Perfect. So we're going to subtract 2 from each side because what we do to one side, we do to the other. Look at that. Negative 2 equals negative 2. That makes sense. So 2 minus 2 goes away. We're left with C. 5 minus 2 is, show me on your fingers, 3. Excellent. Just like Rafi said, but we need to show our work. Now, for the next one, 6 is equal to X plus 5. Jenna, tell me the steps that you took.
You put the X on the left side
Hannah.
I subtracted 6 minus 5 and got 1.
Perfect. So what she did is she subtracted 5 from each side because we want to make sure that we isolate that variable. We isolate that. Remember, these are key terms that you need to know. 5 minus 5, we get 0. So we're left with x equals 6 minus 5. Show me on your fingers. It is 1. Excellent. Jenna said that she put the x on the other side. That's fine too, but that's going to be a little bit more complicated because at this point we could just write x equals 1. Same thing. 1 equals x, x equals 1. Same thing. For C, this one gets a little bit trickier. Jasmine, walk us through the steps that you did.
I subtracted 3.5 and 2.5 and 0.
Excellent. So she subtracted 3.5 from 3.5 to get 0. So now we just have y. What else did you do?
Then I subtracted 3.5 from 12.75.
Perfect. She subtracted 3.5 from 12.75 because what we do to one side? Now, when we subtract or add numbers with decimals, what is important, Jasmine? The decimals need to be lined up exactly. So, 5 minus 0 is 5, 7 minus 5 is 2, and 12 minus 3 is 9. So we get y is equal to 9.25. For D, Fernando, let's read this together. We got, suppose Ruben had 147.5 minutes of the 245.5 that were downloaded. Write and solve an equation to find out how many minutes belong to Tariq. So, the important thing is Ruben had 147. So, how many belong to Tariq, our other one? What's the equation that you wrote?
142.5
Excellent. Did anybody else write a different equation? What'd you write, Ben?
245.5 equals 147 plus x.
That is the same equation, yes. Another way we could have written it is 245.5 minus 147.5 equals x. Same sort of thing. There's multiple ways to write the equation. Essentially what we are looking at here is fact families. Notice that by solving this one right here, we would be subtracting 147.5 to get that x alone, minus 147.5 to get that x alone. That's the same thing because we've got that minus 245 and 5/10 minus 147 and 5/10. That's the same thing that we've got written here. So what is the answer? 245 and 5/10 minus 147 and 5/10. What did we get as our answer, Michelle? 98. Do we agree with her? Yes, excellent. So Tariq has 98. Let's look at the guided practice number 1 through 4 together then. So for number 1, who can walk me through the steps with showing work? Rocco.
So, we got y, I did 10 minus 7.
Perfect. We do minus 7 on each side. We get x is equal to?
X, y.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I always just do x. We do y is equal to? 3. On the other one, Hannah, walk me through the steps.
You would do 10 minus 6.
Perfect. Minus 6 on each side. We subtract 6 on each side. What do we get for E?
4.
Perfect. 4. Remember, you have to say to each side. Next one. A board measures 19.5 meters in length, is cut into 2 pieces. One piece measures 7.2 meters. Write and solve an equation to find the length of the other. Malia, what was your equation? 7.2 plus x equals 19.5. Excellent. We do the same thing. We'd subtract 7.2 from each side. 19.5 minus 7.2. As Jasmine said earlier, we line up our decimals. We get 3, and then we get 12. So we get x equals 12.3. Lastly, it takes 43 facial muscles to frown. This is 26 more muscles than it takes to smile. Write and solve an equation to find the number of muscles it takes to smile. Ben, what's your equation?
43 minus 26 equals X.
So he has 43 minus 26 equals X. Awesome. Who has a different equation? Who has a separate one? Hannah.
I just kind of put the X in front.
So she put it there. 43 minus X equals 26. Or 26 plus X equals 43. Or 43 minus 26 equals X. Fact families, guys, right?
Yeah.
So what is X equal to in the end? What is X equal to? Jaden? Thank you. It is 17. So now our homework is going to be page 529 and a little bit of 530, 1 through 10. 1 through 10.